Here's something that I've been working on for the past couple of weeks. It's a project I want to take on in the new year because I came across my memory box, and it's just filled with stuff about travel, maps I collected, events I'd been to, museum tickets, and of course boarding passes, which I sort of used on the front page. As you can see, I kind of decorated around my name in English and in Urdu as well. So that's that. And the only kind of rule I had for this was to not print anything extra or buy anything extra, because I already had so much paper stuff. Honestly, like, the idea of this project was to reduce the amount of stuff I had, and kind of organize it, so I didn't want to add to it, and that's why you probably won't see that many pictures in it. But yeah, that's sort of it, and we'll just kind of walk through the scrapbook. Okay, so this is the first page, and it starts off on just memories from elementary school that I had. This is our first trip to New York that we took after we got our citizenship. This is actually an entry I wrote when I was in the plane, and I was, I think, 9 years old when we were moving to Canada and we were just traveling to Canada for the first time as well. And I wrote that, sort of embarrassed of it because it makes zero sense. But at that time, I was so proud of myself for writing something so long because English wasn't, my first language. And then we move on to high school, and it just has a bunch of dances and events. And here's a picture of me at graduation. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, it's prom. I was really into poetry back then, so a couple of my friends gave me some poems that I could put in here, and here as well. My first job at McDonald's, I got the receipt for just like punching in and punching out after my shift, so I put that in as well. Yeah, and this is, I think, our first real like international trip outside of Canada. I was 16 years old, and we went to Egypt, but it had a layover in Amsterdam, and it kind of took us on a bus tour that turned into a boat actually in Amsterdam. And then this is a tissue I had. This is probably one of my favorite pages. It has like a map background. I cut out the ticket I had to the Islamic Museum and the pyramids. We also went to Jerusalem, so there's this section for Jerusalem here, the visa, more maps that I cut out, this hieroglyphics thing that we got at some store. Yeah, and this is now Honduras. Didn't really have much from there, but I stole a magazine page when we were on the plane, so I added that, a bunch of boarding passes that I had. We were there for Valentine's Day actually, so my prof gave me this and I kept it. Yeah, and this is from another trip. It's to Dubai. We went to like Abu Dhabi as well. We also went to Iraq actually, but I didn't have anything for Iraq except the boarding passes and just this little map, so I kept that there. It was all part of one trip, and the way that I sort of separate those things is like just writing on the page what year it is and where we kind of went. Yeah, this was like the first of it, so it kind of looks ugly because the washi tapes are not that cute, or I didn't put them on properly, but I think they just distract away. Regardless, I don't care, as long as it's all there and I can see it, and this is actually all university. There's no signs of anything here, but yeah, because it's personal, I kind of know it. I use it as a collage sort of situation. There was just so many tickets and concerts and like tags and all these little things that it just wouldn't fit otherwise. So I had to like cut them up and just kind of keep the main bits of things. I really like this like torn up effect, so I added that in. And it's just like a big mess of like the 4 years that I had in Toronto, going to university. All right. And then, okay, so this is probably one of my other really good pages, I think, that tells a really great story. This is my trip to Brazil over the summer. And it kind of goes from Rio, and then it goes to Foz do Iguaçu, where I went to Argentina and Paraguay as well. I just used some maps, if you can see, like the boat, just things like that I just put in. And then this all is like Franca and São Paulo. Yeah, just like old maps from the hostel, things from the hostel, some parties that we went to, napkins I had, bus tickets, maps. Yeah. All right, so now I got a little bit lazy. I think I didn't want to do any more of the collages because I realized that some things I had kind of meant a lot to me, and I didn't want them to I don't want to kind of ruin it, you know, like I didn't want to rip them apart. So I just kept them as is. And I kind of created this pockets from scrap paper I had lying around. And you can just see like, it has plastic on it now, but you can just pull things out. So this is a trip to Vancouver and Victoria, and it's all 2015. And this is Ottawa. This is, we went to Houston with my family. It's a trip to Montreal. We did a road trip across India when we went to Pakistan in 2016. So there's stuff from there. Don't ask, honestly, don't ask. I just saw this in the newspaper and thought it was hilarious, so I had to have it. And then I use it to make a pocket now. And there's some like pressed flowers I had in old journals that also kind of came out, so I used them here. I got this as well, which I really, really like. The feather is great, and it's also, again, you know, you can pull it out. It's not like stuck on forever. All right, and this is another time I went to New York with a friend of mine for a road trip. And then right after the road trip, we went to Pakistan again for my sister's wedding, I think. So there's stuff from there. But again, these are both like pockets, so easy to pull things out of. Here's a trip to St. Catharines, to Dallas, to Georgina. And the way that I kind of separated these was just through washi tape. I didn't use pockets for this because there wasn't enough stuff. And I didn't really care about these things as much to preserve them, so I just kind of glued them on anyways. Yeah. This is Cuba. I don't know if you could tell, but that's supposed to be me. These are some pressed flowers that I like got from somewhere, and another pocket beside it. And I kind of just wrote where the trip was. So we went to Miami, we went to Cuba, and then we went to Chicago after. So all of those things are kind of here. So just like all the bus passes and everything. And then after I graduated, I actually moved to Egypt for a little bit. So I have a lot of stuff from there. There's some old money, there's some hieroglyphic things. And again, I put in like an envelope because I had so many bus tickets and I just didn't want to. I kind of collected them and I really pride myself on taking so many buses in Egypt. So I just kind of left that there in the envelope. And we'll turn the page. After Egypt, I went to Tunisia and Turkey, so I kind of left those there as well, just using like a postcard to make a pocket to put some stuff in. And then after that, I think in 2018, I had a trip to, well, it was actually like the first time I was kind of going to Europe, and I went to London, and I made this map, which is really funny, in my notebook, and because I didn't have internet, so I just kind of like placed everywhere I wanted to go in all these places. And this is what I actually used to get around in the city, which is really, really funny. And then we went to Paris after, which is really great. Again, I don't have that much stuff for Paris, so I just kept, whatever postcards I kind of had. And then after that, went to Spain, and I think went to a couple places in Andalusia actually. So there's just a bunch of stuff from everywhere, and all the boarding passes and stuff are in an envelope here. And after, it's still 2018. I think, damn, I was traveling a lot in 2018. So in 2018, I went to Pakistan as well, and we did a whole road trip across the country, which is great. Again, the soul pocket from there. I moved to London, Ontario for school. So there's a pocket from there for my 8 months there. And before the New Year's, I went to Banff, and just hitchhiked and stuff there. It was really, really cool. I flew to Calgary, so I just kept those cities there. And then this is the last page. I think it's a little bit incomplete. I want to add more photos to it, but it's pretty much a lens into the past 2 years. This is the first time I actually added photos because I actually had so many of them already. But it's a combination of all of the countries that I kind of went to over the past 2 years when I was living in Europe. And there's just a lot of scrap paper that I just had from old cards. This is a tissue box, some magazine cutouts, some stickers I got from stories I was working on in London. And these weird quotes that I had as well. But most of everything is kind of in this little pocket thing that I made. And this is a painting actually from the time I was living in the hostel for a year, and that dude just kind of gave me his old painting. I thought it was really bad, but I kept it anyways, which makes for a nice thing on this page. But that's sort of it for now. I'll be adding more later this year from traveling in the summertime. And that's it. Thanks.